The rain fell softly that morning, as though the heavens themselves were mourning my daughter. I stood at the edge of the freshly dug grave, clutching the bouquet of white lilies that had always been her favorite. The air was heavy with grief, the kind that makes your chest ache and your knees weak. Family, friends, and neighbors gathered in black, their tears mixing with the rain. But even as the pastor spoke his final words, I kept looking around for the one person who should have been there more than anyone else. Her husband, Mark. My daughter, Emily, had married Mark 5 years ago. She had been radiant on her wedding day, her eyes sparkling with hope and love. I still remember her holding my hands and saying, "Mom, he's the one. I feel safe with him." I believed her. I believed him. But standing at her funeral, his absence cut deeper than any knife could. At first, I told myself he was too heartbroken to come. Grief affects people differently, I thought. Maybe he couldn't bear to see her like this. But something about it didn't sit right. Mark hadn't been at the hospital, either when she took her last breath. He didn't pick up when I called him to tell him she was gone. And now, not even at the funeral. Later that evening, after everyone left, I sat alone in Emily's room. Her scent still lingered. Lavender and vanilla. Her favorite perfume sitting untouched on the dresser. I picked up her photo frame, tears blurring my vision. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from one of Emily's old friends, Sarah. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm so sorry for your loss, but you need to see this." Attached were photos that made my blood run cold. There he was, Mark, on a sunny beach, shirt unbuttoned, sunglasses on, holding another woman's hand, laughing. Carefree. The timestamp read the very same day as my daughter's funeral. My heart pounded. My hands shook so violently that the phone almost slipped from my fingers. I felt every ounce of pain twist into anger, disbelief, and heartbreak all at once. That man had promised to love my daughter, till death do us part, and now, barely days after she was gone, he was parading around with his mistress like she never existed. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind was a storm of memories. Their wedding, the nights Emily called me crying after fights, the bruises she tried to hide with long sleeves, the fake smiles at family dinners. Maybe I should have asked more questions back then. Maybe I should have done more. Then, just past midnight, my phone rang again. I answered with a trembling voice. It was the police. "Mrs. Thompson, there's been an accident." My heart stopped. Mark had been in a car crash. They said it happened on the same highway where Emily's fatal accident occurred just weeks before. He survived. The woman with him didn't. I sat frozen for a long time, the irony of fate sinking in. The same road that had taken my daughter's life had now taken his mistress. And he had to live with that truth forever. When I finally gathered the courage to visit the hospital, Mark was a shadow of the man I knew. His face was pale, his arm in a cast, his eyes hollow. He didn't look at me right away, but when he finally did, his voice cracked. "I saw her," he whispered. "I saw Emily on the road. I tried to swerve, but she was just standing there looking at me, like she was waiting." A shiver ran through me. I didn't believe in ghosts, but in that moment, I wasn't sure what to believe anymore. Tears streamed down his face as he gripped the bedsheet. "She looked so real, Mrs. Thompson. She looked angry." I didn't say a word. I just stared at him, the man who had betrayed my daughter in life and disrespected her in death. Now, he was haunted by the very soul he had wronged. Months passed. Mark recovered physically, but emotionally he was never the same. He sold his house, quit his job, and moved away. Rumor had it he couldn't sleep through the night. Some said he kept seeing her reflection in mirrors or hearing her voice whisper his name in the dark. I never tried to contact him again. Some punishments don't require human intervention. Life, or fate, has its own ways of restoring balance. As for me, I slowly found peace. I started volunteering at the local women's shelter, helping others find the strength to walk away from painful relationships before it's too late. Emily's death had broken me, but it also taught me something profound, that love without respect is just a beautiful cage. One evening, a year after her passing, I visited her grave again. The wind was gentle, the sunset soft and golden. I placed fresh lilies on her tombstone and whispered, "You can rest now, sweetheart. Justice found him." As I turned to leave, A single petal from the lilies drifted up, carried by the breeze, and brushed against my hand. I smiled through my tears. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe it was her way of saying goodbye. Either way, I knew one thing for sure: fate may take its time, but it never forgets. And sometimes, the justice we pray for doesn't come from us. It comes from the hands of destiny itself.